17-year-old Sarah Martinez had nothing left to lose when she walked into Blackstone Garage that gray October morning. The rundown auto shop sat on the wrong side of town where decent folks didn't venture after dark. Everyone warned her about the bikers who worked there, dangerous men with prison tattoos and hair-trigger tempers. Members of the Iron Brotherhood who settled disputes with fists, not words. But Sarah was desperate. 3 months sleeping in her beat-up Honda had taught her that pride was a luxury she couldn't afford. The help-wanted sign promised $40 a day for cleaning. What nobody told her was that sometimes the most broken people recognize each other. Sometimes outcasts become protectors. Sometimes the family you choose means more than the one that abandoned you. Sarah's hands trembled as she approached the garage at 5:30 in the morning. The autumn air bit through her thin jacket. A mountain of a man emerged from the shadows, at least 6 feet 4 inches, with shoulders that stretched the seams of his leather vest. Tattoos covered his massive arms. "You the girl who called about cleaning?" His voice rumbled like distant thunder. "Name's Marcus Rodriguez. They call me Tank." He studied her hollow cheeks, the way her clothes hung loose. "You eat breakfast yet?" She shook her head. "Coffee's always fresh by 6. Help yourself." The interior was surprisingly organized. Tools hung with military precision. "Don't touch the bikes or tools without asking," Tank said. "Most important rule: what happens in this garage stays in this garage. Anyone gives you trouble, you tell me." He handed her keys. "There's a cot in the upstairs break room. Just until you get on your feet." The kindness nearly broke her. 6:30, the crew starts rolling in. They're good men, but they've all got their demons. Don't let the leather and tattoos fool you. By her first week's end, Sarah had learned to recognize each motorcycle before it pulled in. She'd also learned to make herself invisible when customers came around. "You don't have to hide every time someone walks in," Ghost told her, the youngest of the crew with prematurely gray hair and the gentlest voice. He set a sandwich on the workbench. "Just going to sit there and get stale if nobody eats it." When he stepped outside, she devoured it in 4 bites. Saturday brought different energy. Through the window, Sarah watched strangers in red and gold jackets examining bikes outside. The Iron Brotherhood wore black and silver. "Can I help you, gentlemen?" Tank's voice carried through the door. "Heard you got yourself a new employee." "Young girl." Sarah's blood turned to ice. "What business is that of yours?" The conversation continued until the strangers finally left. That afternoon, the crew worked with unusual focus. Tank finally broke the silence. "You know what this is?" He gestured to his patch. "Means we take care of our own. You're working here now. That makes you one of us." Sarah discovered her talent by accident when Tank's prized 1987 Harley refused to start. She noticed oil pooling in a pattern that didn't look right. "The oil leak, it's coming from inside, like maybe the oil pump gear is cracked." Tank stared at her. "You know something about engines?" With shaking hands, she pointed out subtle signs. Tank dismantled the casing and held up a cracked gear. "How'd you spot that?" "My dad always said engines tell you what's wrong if you know how to listen." Ghost whistled. "That would have blown the whole transmission." Tank gestured to a partially assembled engine. "Previous owner tried to rebuild it himself." "Think you can tell me what he did wrong?" Sarah studied it. "The cam timing is off. These gaskets are installed backwards. Plus, wrong grade bolts for the cylinder head." Tank handed her a socket wrench. "Fix it." For 3 hours, Sarah worked with careful precision. When she finally reassembled the last component, Tank hit the starter. The engine roared to life, purring smoothly. The garage erupted in cheers. "Looks like we got ourselves a real mechanic." The trouble started when Officer Bradley pulled into the garage lot. "Got a complaint about a miner working here without proper permits." Sarah's hands froze. "She's learning a trade," Tank said carefully. "Learning or working? Because if she's earning wages without permits, that's a problem." Without saying a word, the Brotherhood formed a loose circle around the patrol car. Sarah stepped forward. "I'm here." The officer studied her. "How old are you?" 17. Where are your parents? I don't have any. Foster care. Aged out of the system. System doesn't age out until 18. Tank stepped closer. Girl's not in trouble. She's learning skills, staying out of trouble. Sarah spoke up. These men have treated me with more respect than anyone has in years. Officer Bradley clicked his pen. 24 hours to get the paperwork sorted. Tank produced a business card. Here's my lawyer's number. Maybe you could explain what specific violations you think you're seeing. After the patrol car left, Tank's hand settled on Sarah's shoulder. Sometimes family means fighting for each other. Saturday arrived with barbecue smoke and motorcycles rumbling into the parking lot. Annual Brotherhood barbecue, Tank explained. Sarah hung back, uncertain of her place. Ghost's wife Maria appeared. If Tank invited you, you're expected. Sarah studied framed photographs from previous gatherings. That's from Sturgis 2018, Linda said. Best trip we ever took. Jim had just gotten out of rehab. What happened? Sarah asked. Tank never left his side. When Jim got the shakes, Tank stayed up with him. That's what brotherhood means. Nobody faces their demons alone. Linda gestured toward the gathering. We all came from broken places. But here we fix each other. The manila folder appeared on Tank's desk Monday morning, Sarah's complete state file. You don't have to read it, she said quickly. Sit down, kid. Running away isn't going to solve anything. Tank read silently, his face tightening at sections about her mother's overdose, the foster placements. Says here you were placed with the Morrison family when you were 12. Sarah nodded. They had a garage. Mr. Morrison restored classic cars. But then Mrs. Morrison got pregnant, and they decided they needed the space for their real child. Tank's jaw tightened. Family isn't about biology. It's about choice. About showing up when things get hard. He told her about Ghost's 3 tours in Afghanistan, his PTSD, finding him under a bridge. About Big Jim's parents kicking him out at 16, 3 years on the streets. Every single person in this garage has been thrown away by somebody. But here's the thing, it teaches you the real value of the people who choose to pick you up. He pulled out a business card. My lawyer's going to help us make sure you never have to go back into the system. You're 18 in 6 months. Until then, this garage is your legal address, and I'm your official guardian. The motorcycle repair manual appeared on her workbench the next morning, worn soft from years of use. Thought you might want to learn the right way, Tank said. The first page bore an inscription. To Marcus. May this help you build something that lasts. Dad, 1987. This was your father's? Sarah asked. He taught everything I know. Over weeks, Sarah's education became a group effort. Tank showed her engine theory. Ghost taught electrical systems. Big Jim demonstrated welding. When she successfully diagnosed a complex transmission problem, Tank nodded. Customer's going to pick that up tomorrow. You just earned your keep. The manual became her constant companion. Promise me something, Tank said. Someday, when you're ready, you'll pass it along to someone else who needs it. The court summons arrived on a Tuesday. Lawsuit, Tank said grimly. Marcus Webb and the Red Devils are claiming we stole 3 custom bikes from their shop. How much? Sarah asked quietly. $60,000 in stolen property and damages. Could be over $100,000. Sarah felt the weight hit her. It's because of me. They're doing this because I'm here. You didn't make Webb file a frivolous lawsuit, Tank said. You didn't do anything except exist in a place where some people think you don't belong. The hospital bracelet was still on Tank's wrist when Sarah arrived at the emergency room. 37 stitches, Ghost said. Broken nose, possible concussion. 3 guys jumped him outside Murphy's bar. They asked about you specifically before they started swinging. Sarah slumped in the chair. Maybe I should disappear for a while. Tank tried to sit up. You know what the first rule of motorcycle safety is? Never run from a fight you can win. Webb thinks he can scare us into submission. He's wrong. But you're hurt because of me. I'm hurt because I chose to fight for my family. That's what you do when someone threatens what matters to you. Later, Sarah's resolve crystallized. They think I'm going to run. Are you? Tank asked. No. I'm going to fight. The legal victory document arrived on a Friday. Case dismissed with prejudice. Plaintiff ordered to pay defendant's legal fees. Tank grinned. Turns out Webb's stolen motorcycles were sitting in his own warehouse the whole time. The celebration that evening filled the garage with joy. Officer Bradley even appeared, looking uncomfortable. Wanted to apologize. I let other people's prejudices cloud my judgment. Later, Tank pulled Sarah aside and produced an envelope, documents establishing her as legal partner in the business. You fought for this place when it would have been easier to walk away. You earned this. Besides, I'm not getting any younger. Need someone I trust to help carry the load. The apartment keys felt lighter now as Sarah stood in her doorway, watching Big Jim and Ghost maneuver furniture while Maria directed. The two-bedroom apartment had transformed into something resembling home. The doorbell rang, a woman named Kelly Morrison from downstairs with banana bread. Tank stood and introduced himself. When Kelly asked about their relationship, Sarah explained. Chosen family. These people took me in when I had nowhere else to go, taught me a trade, helped me get my education. Kelly's expression shifted. Wait, are you the girl the newspaper wrote about? The one who testified before the city council? Sarah nodded. That was really brave. Wasn't brave. Just honest. These people saved my life. The college acceptance letter arrived in March. Dear Ms. Martinez, we are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted into the Automotive Technology program. Full scholarship. Tank grinned. I told you that essay would do the trick. The garage erupted in congratulations. Later, Tank pulled her aside. This is a big opportunity. Question is, what do you want to do with that knowledge? Sarah hadn't thought about long-term goals. I want to keep working here. But Sarah, you're young, talented. This acceptance opens doors I never had access to. Don't limit yourself because you're comfortable. I'm not comfortable. I'm home. Tank smiled. Good answer. But home should be a place that helps you grow. That evening, Tank called with a proposition. What if we created a separate division? Custom shop attached to the main garage. You'd run it once you graduate. Sarah's Custom Cycles has a nice ring to it. The youth program certificate hung in the garage office. Central Valley Youth Mentorship Program, Sarah Martinez, Program Director. The first group consisted of 5 teenagers, all court-ordered. Sarah showed them a picture from 2 years earlier, herself at 17, hollow-cheeked, standing next to the Honda that had been her shelter. I lived in that car for 3 months. I know what it's like. Over weeks, the program took shape around practical skills and personal connection. The breakthrough came when Jennifer diagnosed a complex electrical problem. How do you figure that out? Tank asked. Same way Sarah taught us. Process of elimination. Jennifer grinned, the first real smile Sarah had seen from her. Turns out I'm good at this stuff. By the 3rd month, all 5 had completed court requirements, but none wanted to leave. This program doesn't end just because the court says it does. The partnership papers lay spread across Tank's desk, documents that would make Sarah Tank's equal partner. You sure about this? She asked. I'm only 20. Sarah, I've been sure about you since the day you spotted that cracked oil pump gear. The garage had grown substantially. The youth program had attracted positive media attention. Custom restoration commanded premium prices. What happens if you decide to retire? Sarah asked. Then you buy out my share at fair market value. But I'm not planning to retire anytime soon. Sarah signed with careful precision. Tank produced a small box, a new nameplate reading, Sarah Martinez, partner. As Sarah discussed a restoration project with a customer, Tank watched with quiet satisfaction. The partnership papers might be new, but the reality had been months in the making. The wedding photograph captured everything. Sarah in a simple white dress, surrounded by the Iron Brotherhood in their finest leather vests, all grinning with joy. Tank stood beside her in the place traditionally reserved for fathers. The wedding was held in the garage, celebrating Sarah's union with David Chin, the social worker who'd come to investigate the youth program and stayed to fall in love. The garage housed 3 programs now: original repair business, custom restoration shop, and youth mentorship that had helped over 50 teenagers. Professor Williams presented a gift, Sarah's framed thesis, cited by researchers and being replicated in 3 other states. As evening wound down, Sarah found herself alone with Tank. "Any regrets?" he asked. Sarah looked through the window at David, at former program participants, at the garage that had become the center of a community built around second chances. "Only one," she said. "That it took me 17 years to find this place. But I guess some things are worth waiting for." Tank nodded, understanding that the photograph represented more than a wedding. It represented the completion of a journey from desperate survival to joyful belonging, and the beginning of a future built on the unshakable foundation of family chosen with both heart and intention.